What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy BT, and today we're going to be taking a look at this tire changer here and helping you get this thing set up.
All right, so we're going to move right into getting this tire changer set up. So we have this component here. We have the leg for the wheel lift, and we've got the helper arm. And then all we have to do is pour some oil in because this is a hydraulic system. So it should be pretty straightforward. So for this here, we're going to be using a 14 mil to tighten this down, and we're going to be using a number 8 for the helper arm to mount it to the top. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So this piece will come off to the side as we've seen previously. All we have to do is take these 4 out, put it in place, and then lock them in. All right, so that is locked in place. Next, we're going to move on to this helper arm here, which we will have to cut off these zip ties. All right, so once those zip ties are off, this will be loose, so just be careful as you get ready to move it. All right, so as we prepare to move this arm here, we're going to want to take these bolts off the top here. This is where the 8 is going to come in handy, but we're going to want to take these off so that we can get ready to mount this. And the air line is already attached to it, so just be careful as you move this around. Okay, so with those out of the way, we can take up the arm. Now it does have a decent amount of weight on it, so if you can get help, that's great. But just be mindful, it does have some weight. So just consider that as you're trying to get this thing set up on the top here. And then with this piece, all we're going to do is we're going to flip it around. So I believe this is what's going to hold the heat blaster here. It'll hold it in this spot right there. So we're going to go ahead and just flip that around and secure it down. So here's the spot where we secured those bolts, and then we just turn this upwards to hold this in place. All right, last piece we're dealing with is putting this piece on. So this is a 12 and this will be a 6. So all we have to do is disassemble all of these on both sides. And then we're going to take this in this manner where this is to the floor. And we're going to, or in other words, this piece is, the bump is facing up. And once you've got it fitted, just go ahead and insert your bolts back in, put the washer on, put the nut on, and then we're just going to tighten them down. All right, so after you get those 4 tightened up, we're done. All we have left to do is add some oil. All right, so as usual, these instructions are not the best, so I tried to go over the things that I could make sense of pretty straightforward to show you how to assemble this unit here. To get everything up and running. All right, so the only thing we have left to do is to deal with the hydraulic fluid reservoir there. Now, the instructions aren't that great, but we do have some hydraulic fluid here. We got a premium AW32 hydraulic oil, so we're going to go ahead and get that inserted into the reservoir, and then this unit is fully set up and ready for its first tire change. So this is the location we're working with right here, so you can see it's a little bit interesting to get under here. With the way this is set up, you probably could utilize one of those curved funnels to be able to get into the space, because it is going to prove a little challenging to get in here. But here is our little dipstick here, so we're shooting to be at this level right there. So all we got to do is pour in until we fill up. All right, so I'm going to be using this funnel here. I'm going to insert it here like so, and then hopefully try to get a pour in here without making a mess. All right, so as you fill this thing, take your time. You're going to have to do trial and error. It's a little hard to see on here. It'd be nice if they had added some ridges across here so you can kind of see where the oil level is. But in general, I think I've got it at a good level here. So now all we have to do is hook up some air and get some power on this thing, and we are good to go. All right, so after we filled up the reservoir, I was having an issue with one of these valves here. So all I ended up doing is I kept kind of, working with the controls to see which one would respond. I got one to respond. Then after a while, another responded. The last one did not respond. That was the one that made this piece go up and down here. So all I did was I swapped the valve with one of the others, worked it a little bit, and after a while it actually started responding. So that's how I was able to get this to work. So we're going to go ahead and give you a demo of how this machine works. All right, so the moment we've all been waiting for, here's the demo. This is probably one of the coolest parts. Now imagine this is flat on the floor. You roll your wheel right into this section right here, and you go ahead. This will do all of the lifting for you. And then all we have to do is slide it on down. Make sure all of your tools are out of the way so you've got enough space. So then we just slide it over like so. And then all we're going to be doing is lining it up before we lower it down. So as we're lowering it down, we're going to go ahead and line it up so it drops right where it needs to go. And we'll straighten it up. That's down and out of the way. Then we grab this guy right here. Twist him in so he's in place. And then we'll go ahead and secure this down. Okay, now that's secured down, what we need to do is go ahead and break the bead. So as the machine turns on, it's going to be a little loud, so I'm going to try to explain this. We're going to lower this down, push it right up under here, rotate it as we break the bead, then we're going to bring it up to the top and do the same. All right, and that should get us to break the bead. All right, so we've got our bead broken there. All right, so you'll see on the bottom there, we've got a nice broken bead thanks to this guy right here. All right, so now we're going to move back up to the top and do the same thing again. And since these are low profile ties, you really got to get that thing in there or else it's going to slip off. All right, so now that we got that bead nice and broken there, and we're going to go ahead and lube up the tire for dismount. All right, so with that nice and lubed up there, I'm going to go ahead and get this out the way. This is probably the most amazing part of it all. Just like that, it's off. So now we're going to bring this down and use this piece to lift up the remainder. So once you get this up kind of to here, you go ahead, bring this in. All right, so once that's in place, we're just gonna go ahead, lift this up. So you can see where it is right there, and then we're just gonna rotate it. I'm gonna lift it up a little higher, and then we're just gonna rotate it off. And just like that, we have dismounted the tire. And just like that, we're done. Beautiful. So there you can see, ladies and gentlemen, how lovely it is to work with a machine that makes tire changing a breeze. I can basically change any one of my car's tires. No longer am I limited to the way tires are mounted. There is no more inner mount, outer mount. This thing is mounted right here in the center, nice and secure. I am loving this tire changer. All right, so to finish the assembly on the balancer, we're going to take this piece here. We've got 2 Phillips screws on both sides. So we're going to take both of those out. All right, so with both of those out, that exposes this section right here. Then we can get our bolts locked in the right spot. And then we've got our wire that's going to come out through here and plug into this section right here. All right, so next thing we're going to do, make sure you've got this piece here on the hood for the hood cover. Make sure you've got this on in here. And what that will do is as it pulls in, it's going to spread and hold it in place. So we're going to go ahead and lock it in place, sliding that in like so. So pull it out so you can get it slid in there. All right, so once you get it where it needs to be, which is basically perpendicular, which is basically, a nice flat like so, I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to tighten this up. All right, so for the wiring on this terminal here, we're going to use the one furthest in the back as the first, and then we're going to use the one furthest in the front as the second. And this is all wired. Now put your cover back on, and we have one more step to go before we're done. All right, and our final step here is to get this little guy right here with this setup here. And all we're going to do is insert this into here to finish this off and tighten this down. All right, we are all set and ready to go. The balancer is fully assembled. You can see how easy and quick it is to do this. I will go over in another video how to calibrate this. The manual does say that it comes calibrated from the factory, so you may not necessarily need to calibrate it. All right, so the last set of goodies in this box here, we've got this little guy here, which has a nice spot placed right there for him. And then we have these as well to help us secure down our wheels when bouncing. So there are 4 of these that come in the box. And then we also have our calibration 100-gram weight there. And so that is everything that comes in this kit, along with this guy right here. This is what we use to lock in our wheels. Tighten it down here. So that's the entire setup of our kit. So with that said, we are ready to balance some tires. You can see here, so far, this setup is looking phenomenal. Let's just go ahead and power this thing on real quick. And we do have our power switch on the side here, which I'll shut off, shut back on. So there it is. We are ready to actually start balancing. Again, I will go over the calibration steps in another video, but it is so cool that you can automatically grab the values with that arm right there. Just touch it, inside, outside, values are in. It's amazing. It just makes the process so much easier. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really excited to use this new combo here. It's your boy BT. Thank you for checking out this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.